Reset to Healthier Relationships. Oh, welcome to Reset to Healthier Relationships, Sunday night at 9. I am your host, Coach Glenda, here with my course manager and co-host, Rufus Carpenter. As most of you know, Rufus and I have created this forum where you can discuss trials and triumphs in past and present relationships. We encourage everyone to share, speak their truth, and talk as much or as little as they would like. And just a little few housekeeping rules. Please mute your phones or your devices until you are ready to speak to avoid any background noise. And as always, we want to be respectful and allow everyone to speak their truth and get their comments in. Now I will allow Mr. Carpenter to tell you a little bit about his background and introduce himself.
Good evening, everybody. Like she says, I'm Rufus Carpenter, and my coming to this space a little different than most. My background started as a child in a family of 14 in Virginia. In a family of 14, we had a 3-bedroom house and only one bathroom, and it seemed like we never had enough of anything. I remember one weekend when I went out, I worked a week. I worked the whole weekend doing chores for people. I was doing errands to the store. I was raking grass. I was pulling weeds. Anything that the community wanted, I did. And I made $35 and some change that day. And I ran home and told my mom, and she kissed me on the forehead, said, Rufus, I'm so proud of you. And that turned my life. I felt so grateful and so proud of how my mother had expressed that I decided from that point on, I was going to do whatever I could to help the family situation. So from that moment on, I become what's called a helper. And I'll give you the shirt off my back. That's the way I try to get that involved in making the mission work. So with that, I learned the essence of the human connection. But my background didn't stop there. I joined the United States Army, and one of the jobs in the United States Army for me was a race and human relation leader. Well, I had the responsibility of going to different Army units, and I would investigate any race or relationship problems. And my job was do what's called intake form. And with an intake form, I would decide what level of responsibility or resources we had to throw at solving those relationship issues. So my background in relationship is very diverse. So I'm also here tonight to represent the male perspective because Sunday night at 9, the framework was designed to be where you and 20 of your girlfriends are in someone's living room. It's 9 o'clock, the kids are in bed, you're relaxed. You might have a couple glasses of wine, and you're talking about relationship topics. Normally, we have a relationship topic each week, and this week we have a topic, a good one, as a matter of fact. But even though we have a certain topic, we allow you to talk about any relationship issues or concerns you have, and you can bring your questions forward. And a lot of times you say, well, why do you want me to talk about my situation, and why do you want me to share my information? The reason why we ask you to do that, because you might look at a sister beside you, and you might think she has it all together. She may not have it all together. It's that she may be masking her issues and wearing it a little bit better than you do. So when you speak your truth, you give her the opportunity to say, wow, if this sister can get through it and made it, then I can get through it too. That's why we ask for you to share your triumphs as well as your breakthroughs, because you don't know who's listening and who you can help tonight. So Glenda, let me go ahead and turn it back over to you so we can get this night started.
All right, thank you, Mr. Carpenter. Now, tonight's topic, everyone, is speak your truth, clearing the air in relationships, the importance of honest communication. I'm going to repeat that topic once again. Speak your truth, clearing the air in relationships, the importance of honest communication. I think almost every week here, I can say maybe for the past month or so, I may be wrong, but it may have been longer, but we've really been talking about making sure that we're open and honest and we are effectively and actively communicating in our relationships, because that is so important. Okay, so let's get real for a minute. How many times have you swallowed your truth just to keep the peace? I've done it several times. Or stayed silent to avoid a fight, only to find yourself holding on to that hurt for weeks, months, maybe even years. Tonight, we're diving deep into a sacred power of honest communication. This isn't just about saying what's on your mind, it's about healing what's in your heart. Speaking your truth is not about confrontation, it's about connection. Let's unpack how clearing the air can open the door to deeper relationships, healthier boundaries, and emotional freedom. Tonight, we create a space for courage, clarity, and conversation. So grab your tea, your journal, and your truth. It's time to clear the air. All right. So, Mr. Carpenter, I'm going to let you start out with our chat storm.
Okay, but before we get to that, let's talk about this topic a little bit, because when you said the title, man, I got my ears and my thoughts peaked, because this is Speak Your Truth, clearing the air in relationships. The importance of honest communication. Because first, speaking your truth. Because the first thing, when you're in a relationship, a lot of time people don't always say the truth because they don't want you to know what they're truly feeling and how they truly feel. A lot of times people tell you what they think you might want to hear, even in relationships. When you first meet somebody, or even somebody you've known for a while, they don't put it all out on the table. You know, they're reserved. So they may give you half of it, but they don't give you all of it. So that's the first part of this thing, speaking your truth. The second part of this, clearing the air in relationships. Now, you say clearing the air in relationship, let's think about that. What does that mean? That means getting it all out there. If something ain't right, if it stinks, it stinks. If it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. You know, and that's very important, because sometimes, again, you don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. So you take it in the chin. Okay, not a problem. It'll get better. You know, you go that long run, it'll get better. It'll get better. Just give it a little more time, give it a little more time, give it a little more time. And next thing you know, you 2 and 3 years in, and you got a mediocre relationship at best. You know, and then sometimes people say, well, at least I know this person, I'm comfortable, so it's okay. That's called settling. So let's clear the air. Then the next part of this is 3 parts of this. The importance of honest communication. Now, when you start a relationship, you want to be honest right out the gate. And I know people say, well, no, because you're going to scare people off, and you know, they don't really know who I am. They don't know my value. So their judgment of me right now is without knowing my value. So they can't give me a true assessment. And that's a merit. But when are you going to tell the truth then? If you're going to start off half holding back and half telling the truth, then when are you going to decide they know you enough to tell the truth? And then when they find out, they're going to say, wait, hold up. We've been talking for 6, 7 months now. This is the first time I heard this stuff. What's up? So it's a lot here tonight. And I want you to get involved, because tonight's subject is not a subject that's so structured that, hey, look, you know, this put A into B and B into C. That's not the subject tonight. The subject tonight is what's in your heart and what's in your mind and the way you emotionally charge your relationships. So that's what it is tonight. So everybody should have a voice. Everybody should have a voice, because the majority of us that are in here are over 25, been in 1 or 2 relationships, and hope most of them was great. But this is where everybody get a chance to talk. So I just want to start this off tonight and let everybody know, hey, this is a night we talk. This is the night we share. This is the night we open up. So let me ask one of the first things. Have you ever stayed quiet in a relationship where it backfired on you? Where you say, okay, I'm not going to say anything. And to put this in the chat. I don't want nobody talking yet. Put this in the chat. I want you to answer this in the chat. Have you ever been in a relationship and you stayed quiet and then it backfired? You know, you say, hey, I'm going to stay quiet. I'm not going to let him know this. And then down the road, you look, oh my God, it backfired on you. You thought you were saving some grace or saving some hurt or saving some embarrassment or saving the relationship. So put in the chat. Let's give you about 3 to 5 minutes, because that's very important. Have you ever, or when have you ever been quiet in a relationship and it backfired? It could be a little thing, it could be a big thing, it could be something innocent. So we're gonna start that off the chat. We're gonna start our right off riff with that chat. Put in the chat, and we're gonna give you a couple. You got 3 or 4 more minutes, and we want you to say, have you ever been quiet in a relationship and it backfired? And
So are you looking for a yes or no, Mr. Carpenter,
no,
or are
no,
you looking for
I don't want a
details?
yes or no. Well, you can put a yes or no. You can put yes, it happened, and if you can give us some of the details, you can give it to us. If you give us some of the details, hey, look, and it don't have to be a romantic. It don't have to be a romantic relationship. It can be the postmaster. It could be the postman whenever he came. Whenever the postman came, and you're in a rural area where when the post guy come, he knock on your door, or you see him put a regular, him or her, and you might want to conversate. And they might say, hey, Mr. Johnson, how you feel? Hey, I've been noticing you ain't been coming out lately. And then in your mind, you be saying, wow, man, next time that mail lady come to my house, I'm gonna answer. And she could be giving you the high sign. And I'm just using this one because it's kind of, awkward about a mailman. But I just want to give you a starting point. She coming over, Mr. Johnson. Hey, Mr. Johnson, how you doing? She's friendly as all she can be. She's staying at 3 or 4 minutes at your doorstep when she got a whole sack of mail on her back. And she's all this chit chat. And you be saying, man, I wish I was tough enough or brave enough to say ass her out. And that's just to give you some thought. Okay, I got 2 more minutes left, and then we'll see what's in chat. And that's where we're gonna start out with that tonight, because tonight we've got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight, but it's bits and pieces. So we're hoping that you can get in and share your comments in it, because we want to be real. Now we got a couple of scenarios that we're gonna deal with, but we want it to be real. We want to talk about real stuff tonight. We want to clear the air in relationships. We want to talk our truths. We want to make sure we know the importance of honest communication. All right, Glenda, you want to read some? Or if you want to read them yourself, anybody want to volunteer to come off mute and read their own or discuss their own, you can. If you don't have to, once again, in this container, you don't have to show your face. You don't have to answer. You can get in for as much as you want, because we want this to be a safe place and we want you to feel free here. But we're not going to force you to do anything. But we ask that you do get involved, because when you get involved, sometimes just speaking your truth and getting that monkey off your back make your heart lighter. It makes you feel, oh, wow, I finally got the weight off my shoulder. I heard myself say it. Sometimes that's a great healing. Okay, you want to read some, Glenda? Well, give me some.
No one put anything in the chat. Someone did answer yes, and I asked them if they wanted to share. So, would you like to share?
Is that me, Glenda, you talking about?
Yes, ma'am.
You feel guilty?
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay. The question was, have you ever not said something and it backfired on you?
Yes, that's pretty
Was
much
that
it.
what I'm supposed to be answering? Yes, I did, by trying to be a nice, kind person and spare people's feelings and not really telling them what bothered me or how I felt. And yes, it backfired on me because I let it go for so long. It was like they couldn't understand what I meant or where I was coming from when I said it gets on my nerve and you got to stop that.
Okay, now you must be near somebody that's recording, that's on tonight also.
Yeah. Okay, my bad. I am.
Have them put their phone or their device on mute.
Or go in another room or something.
Okay. Well, that's all I had to say anyway. Okay.
But did you want to share what it was? Would you like to share? I'm just asking. You don't have to. What it was you didn't like that you wanted them to stop?
Oh, you talking to me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me go in another room. Okay, I'm sorry.
While
Okay.
she's going in another room, let me share this one while she's getting herself together.
Okay.
And this is a true story. This guy and this young lady was together, and the young lady breath stink. It really stunk. And the guy liked the girl, and he would never tell a girl her breath stink. She has stinky, well, I don't know how you're supposed to say it, but her breath smells. And so the guy didn't know how to tell her. So they went together for a while until he just couldn't take it no more. And they broke up. But really, if he had said something, because there's so much that you can do now with bad breath. You know, you've got different things. You can go to the dentist together, and the dentist got options, and there's so much. And they could have worked it out because he really was in love with the lady, and the lady really liked him. Because I talked to both of them, and they really wish they could have worked it out, but they let it go so long, just got out of hand.
Right.
Okay, and that's a true story. Go ahead. Go ahead, Sharon. Your turn. Sharon, did we lose you altogether?
Okay, I'm on mute now. Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay. Well, my situation was, I'm a kind of straightforward person, and I'm kind of like independent. And I hate a whiner. I hate somebody to whine or cry or act like, I'm their babysitter or something. So instead of putting my foot down from the beginning and just telling them straight out how I feel or put them out, you know what I'm saying, I let it go on. And then once it went on so long, it was like they couldn't see the concept with their behavior.
Okay.
Hello.
We crickets, huh? Okay, yeah, but and that's understandable. That's understandable because sometimes you're nice people and you're talking to a nice person and you don't want to cross the line or you don't want to take them to where they feel bad. Not so much you feel bad, where they feel bad. So I can understand. I can understand. All right, any more before we move on?
There's no more in the chat.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay.
You want me to move forward or you want to move forward, Glenda?
Let's see.
Because we can go to scenarios or we can either go to the deep dive. Your choice.
I want to start with the scenario.
Okay.
All right. So biting your tongue during a painful situation. I thought I was keeping the peace, finally expressing how I was hurt led to an understanding I never expected.
That's another.
Now, what situation comes to mind for you? Have you ever ran across that situation or scenario yourself where you bit your tongue during a painful situation, thinking that you were keeping your peace, but finally you expressed yourself and how hurt you were? It led to an unexpected understanding.
I think this is one of the most common things we do in relationship. I think this is almost like automatic because I found myself several times doing this, and until I got a little better and learned, because this was, to me, to a lot of us, this is the way you do it. unless you're confrontational, unless you love confrontation. Because a lot of us don't want people feel or don't want confrontation. So we bite our own tongue just to get beyond that one moment. And sometimes when you bite your tongue, get beyond that one moment, it don't set any boundaries up. So the other person think, well, shoot, hey, she took that or he took that. Let me dump some more on them. Let me dump some more on them. So we all get there until we get sick and tired. As the movie says, sick and tired. We get sick and tired, then we speak up. So this is something that I think in my mind we all been through that. Anybody else experienced this like I experienced or seen this happen a lot?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to talk. If you have an example, please share.
Okay, because I know when I do it, it's like in the heat of battle. Because sometimes I notice some people on this conference call might say iron sharpen iron. Like they're saying that, hey, look, when you come to me, when you bring it, you might as well be ready to take it because I'm gonna dish it just as hard as I took it. So when you get into those scenarios, nobody really wins. Nobody really wins. So sometimes one person might take it for the team. Say, okay, not a problem. Hey, not a problem. You got this one. Just go ahead. It's not that. Here's how people say it's not that serious. It's not that serious, and move on. But if you go ahead and say not so much confrontation, not iron against iron, but your confrontation, hey, look, you hurt me emotionally when you said what you just said. I stood here and listened to you just tell me rant and let you tell me, but deep down inside, you touch something that really hurt me that I don't think we can get it back. Because here's how I felt. Here's how I felt. You don't say how they make you feel, but here's how I felt based on what you said. And then when you let them know and tell them, and then they have a chance to say, well, hey, right in that moment, they got a choice to make. When you tell them this is how it made me feel, and this is how I felt when you said that, they have a choice to make right then. Right then, they can say, okay, they can realize that they're wrong. They can realize the opportunity to say, hey, look, maybe you're right. Let's talk. Let's settle down a little bit and let's talk deeper about this, or share with me how you feel. And you have a chance to build a bridge right there. And you have a chance to strengthen your connection. A lot of people don't realize when you go through stuff like this, you strengthen the connection. You don't pull apart. You actually get closer because now you're vulnerable. You let the person know how you feel. You let the person know how it affects you. You tell a lot about yourself. And these opportunities are opportunities for you to get closer and the connection go deeper. So that's why we say, speak. You got to have common sense. You can't, wow, you MF or hey, now my turn. You got to speak and then start with, this is how I felt.
Correct.
This is how I feel, because when you tell them, here's what you're doing to me and blah, 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 then all you're doing is pouring gas on the fire. Someone to give us a scenario where they had an opportunity to do this. And when they actually had to stop in that moment and think, do I speak or do I not speak? Because I think the actual person, the thinker, gonna stop. The thinker gonna stop first before they speak. They're not gonna fly off the cuff. The thinker gonna say, "Well, hold up. What I'm gonna say, is this gonna light it or this is gonna heal it?" Anyone want to share some words of wisdom in there? Because I know a lot of us are over 50 years old, so that discernment and wisdom kick in at that time.
Now, Sharon did put in the chat, what about the ones that don't listen to you?
Well, sometimes we call them a fool, and they need to go with somebody else. They need to be. I hate to say it that plainly, and I have well. Let me take this back, and I'm sorry to be so frank and so open and honest, but here's a part that I really believe in. When you talk to someone, and you've done all you can do. Like that record, when I done all I could do to stay in.
Right.
When you've done all you can do and it's nothing else, and you've been as open and as honest and truthful as you can, and it don't work, sometimes they got a philosophy. If you can't change the mind, you got to change the body in relationships. If you can't change the mind, you got to change the body. And we're not here tonight to tell you that stop seeing anybody, stop talking to anybody, to dismiss anybody or break up anybody or leave your home or leave your relationship. That's not what the night is all about. What the night is all about is open and honest communication. You have to talk. You have to let the person know how you feel. Emotionally, you have to share. You can't cut yourself off emotionally because a person is talking their truth to you. You have to say, okay, here's what you're saying, but here's how it make me feel. Now, you point the finger, you got trouble. When you start pointing the finger, you're not going to get anywhere. But when you say, here's how it makes me feel, and you talk about your feelings, then the person can empathize with you. Okay? Who wants to share? Anybody have a scenario that matches this that they want to share, or instance where they were successful and got a breakthrough at this moment?
Well, I don't have an incident to share with someone that didn't listen. I know that I had a relative that usually come and visit me a few times throughout the year, and when we have altercations, I think someone calls them a fuss fest. She just goes off and she wants to cuss me out of my whole house. So on the way to the airport. I let her have a little fuss fest and cuss me out a few times, but this one visit, I said, I can't take it no more. I'm paying the mortgage. You're here visiting, and you're gonna cuss me out in my own kitchen. I had a problem with it. So on the way to the airport, because I had to cool down because the words wouldn't have came out right, I said, look, if you keep cussing me out in my house, I'm not gonna let you come back and visit no more. Now she bumped her gums a little bit more, but then she came to herself and said, okay. And ever since then, she hasn't cussed me out in my house or cussed me out, period, even in her house. So I think that was a win-win for both of us, because when you're visiting someone else's house, I don't think it's appropriate for you to cuss them out, even if something's not going your way. So that was my example for this evening.
Now, with that example, here's what was important about the example you gave, Glenda. The importance was that relationships, we're talking about relationships, not just boy-girlfriend or romantic relationships. We're talking about family relationships.
Right.
We're talking relationship with friends. We're talking relationship with coworkers. When you talk about relationships, the same dynamics works. You know, your coworker want the truth from you. Your sister, your brother wants the truth from you. Your mother, your father, they want the truth from you. They want to know what's on your mind. And they deserve to know. You know? So, all right, what's the next? What's the second? Any questions about this before we go into the second one? Second scenario?
Does anyone want to share anything before we move along? What did you say, Mr. Carpenter?
Was that the second or third? I wasn't sure. I wasn't
No,
sure.
that was the first. That was the first.
Yeah. All right, good. So let's go into the second one.
All right. I was stressed out because I didn't think my partner would react kindly to my question when he talked about it. I felt heard and could relax. Let me read that one again. I was stressed out because I didn't think my partner would react kindly to my question. When we talked about it, I felt heard and could relax. Have you ever been surprised by how someone responded when you were honest?
This is a real good one. This is a real good one, because sometimes you get in your own way. Sometimes you actually get in your own head. And this is unique. The stories you tell yourself sometimes are so false, so wrong, are so left base. Because when you think in your mind, you think, I can't say this, I can't say that, because he or she gonna feel this way about it. Or you might think in your head, my last person I was with, when I told them this, that relationship was over. So sometimes the stories you tell yourself, and this is a prime example. I was stressed out because I didn't think my partner would react kindly to the question I was going to ask them. And you haven't asked the question, you stressed out already. You stressed out and haven't asked the question yet.
Right.
And now it says right here, when we talked about it, I felt heard. I could relax. This is entirely different than what she was thinking. And the reaction here is, have you ever been surprised by someone's response when you were honest? Have you ever been surprised? You know, I could give you a whole bunch of them, but I talk too much, so I'm not going to tell you about all my.
You can give us one example to kick us off.
Well, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna do it this way. I'm gonna do it a little different. And I'm gonna say something that I think all of us have been at this place one time or another. Have you ever saw someone that you liked, that you really liked, and you kind of knew them or they knew you, and you wanted to say something to them, but you looked at yourself and said, "I don't add up, so I'm not gonna say anything." Have you ever knew somebody that you like, that you knew, and they knew you, and they were available, and you were available, and you didn't speak up because you prejudged yourself? You told yourself in your own mind, "It's not gonna, man. I won't add up. It's not gonna work. She's gonna turn me down, or he gonna turn me down, or shoot me down." So I'm not gonna say no. I'm just gonna go the other way. You know, and the reason why I say that, this is one time I remember this young lady, and this young lady, man, I really did like the young lady, and I didn't know the young lady liked me, but the young lady would always cause me trouble. You know, it was always a problem. So I said, I'm not gonna say anything. Years later, when I saw the girl years later, she said, you know what? I was trying to talk to you. I did everything but send out smoke signals trying to get your attention. She said, I used to pick fights with you, try to get you to talk, but you wouldn't say nothing. And that could have been my destiny partner right there. And it's like 10 or 15 year span. And this is when I hear that scenario, I kind of give you that so everybody can understand that. You never know. The stories we tell ourselves sometimes are so wrong, You know, have you ever been in a scenario where you convinced yourself not to, where actually you should have? I'm the only one.
Yeah.
I'm the only one that been there.
This is Annette. I've been in this situation before where I held myself back from a person based on education. I felt like that person's education level was too advanced for me at that time. And I felt like, oh my God, I felt attracted to that person. And I thought that person was attracted to me. But I felt like, knowing the person's education level, that I couldn't compete. I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to make myself look stupid. You know, hell no, I'm not going to talk to this person. However, life happened and things changed. And when we got to talking, it was like, oh my God, this man was so fascinated by me. He was like, God, I've never met anybody like you. You're pretty fascinating. I'm like, what? And then when I got to know him, I said, okay, now I got you. Now we're going to talk. Okay, you understand? Because then I realized, hey, what am I holding myself back for? What the heck? So
Right.
it was me holding myself back based on the fact that I thought that his education was just, at that time, I didn't have that type of education that he had. And I'm like thinking, wow, I don't even know how to talk to somebody. And I actually told him when we started talking, I don't know how to talk to somebody on this high level of education. And he said, what? He said, I never would have known. And I said, well, after then, I handled the business, but that was it then. But that's it.
And that's why it's so important. It's so important. Speak your truth. Speak your truth. Just speak your truth. You know, don't be, I'm not asking you to be reckless and crazy, but speak your truth. Speak your truth. And it makes all the difference in the world, because sometimes the stories we tell ourselves really is not what it is. It's not what it is. And if you speak your truth and it don't work out, at least you can say, well, I gave it all I had. You know, I was honest in my communication. You know, I went as honest as I could. So if it don't work, then you felt you done all you can do. You know, the Bible says the only person you owe any man is love. And love is truth. It's just that simple. Love is truth. And that's why the topic is so important tonight, because it's a simple topic. But we find ourselves in some of the biggest messes, and right here in this part right here, where it's the stories we tell ourselves hold us back. Our emotional, Our emotional insecurities, or our our fear of failure. And these are all the things that when you're vulnerable, the other person can really feel it. It's some connections are built on that, your vulnerability. When you being vulnerable, the vulnerability and being authentic, that makes a difference in a relationship, because the other person know who they actually have in their corner. They know who they're dealing with. When you really don't know the other person, other side, because when you start because when you say, okay, self-awareness, and start setting boundaries and communication, all this stuff is built on truth. Mm-hmm. When you become self-aware and you start to worry about your truth, you're telling yourself truth. Here's where I stand. This is me. This is where I stand. This is my self-awareness. I'm aware of who I am. I'm aware of what I want. I'm aware of what I don't want. So I'm being true to myself first. Now I'm setting boundaries. The boundaries are true boundaries, true guideposts that's going to keep me from getting in trouble or keep the other person from getting in trouble. So those boundaries are set. And then when you go out to talk to someone, you already know who you are. You already got the boundaries in place. So when you talk to them, they know who they're dealing with. And you know who you're dealing with. Because the runway, when you first meet somebody, that runway sometimes is short. You have to make decisions on people sometimes pretty quick. And then other times, if you're slow, you might have years to make a decision on the person. But in today's society, they got what is called this modern romance where everybody's doing what they're big and bad enough to do. This is like a lot of sharks out there. So you have to be careful because, a lot of us are 40, 50, 60, and a couple 70 years old are in this conversation tonight. You don't have too many oopsies left. You don't want to get out there and think one thing and something else happen because we don't have oopsies. This is we're trying to find that person that person we're gonna be with for the rest of our life. At least we want peace for the rest of our life with people. Okay, Glenda, let's go to number 3 because you guys, this is a subject. I like this subject tonight, so you guys are gonna have me talk because I don't need to talk. I don't need to hog the show. Let's get into this. Let's keep moving.
All right, number 3. I used to downplay my needs, thinking. Give me 1 second. Let me start from the beginning. I used to downplay my needs, thinking it was easier that way. The more vocal I've been with friends, the more I've realized how much they care. All right, let me repeat that one more time. I used to downplay my needs, thinking it was easier that way. The more vocal I've been with friends, the more I realize how much they care. What's one need you've minimized in the past?
Ooh,
one need
this is a good one.
Minimized in the past?
Okay, anybody want to jump on that before I get in it? Anybody want to jump on that?
No, don't. If you don't feel like speaking out, you can always put it in the chat. I don't mind reading it. But you can either, like we've said before, you can raise your hand, speak out loud, or put it in the chat.
And I was stressed out because wait a minute, where was that? I used to downplay my needs. And what are needs in relationships? Wait, maybe we might need to break it down there. What are needs in a relationship? What do you need in a relationship? The first thing we talked about truth. You need somebody to tell the truth. You need someone to respect themselves so they can respect you, because if they don't respect themselves, you're in trouble. What other needs you need? You need them to be forthcoming, which is true. You need them to be honest. And some people I
need them to listen.
Available. What are some more needs? I tell you what, put in chat. Let's put in chat. Let's take a few minutes in chat. And this is not something we normally put in chat, but this question begs for this. Put in chat. What are some of the things you think you need in relationships? What are some of your needs in relationships? Need somebody to listen. That was a good one. Oh, that's you, Glenda. I thought that was somebody else. I just read the chat. That's you. That one don't count. That's Glenda.
Really?
So somebody got a great one out at the beginning, listening. Okay. Now, and while you guys are while you're putting things in the chat, we're gonna take about 3 minutes to put things in the chat. We're gonna go. I'm gonna remind us of a session we had maybe about 7 months ago when we talked about attachment styles. Mm-hmm. When we talked about attachment styles, the 4 different attachment styles, and one attachment style was fearful avoidance, and another one was ancient attachment, where the person that these two were the or the styles where people didn't know what they want or what they need. Because remember, the one style, the anxious attachment style, was someone that was needy all the time. They want to cling to you, want to always be around you, always want to be in your face, want to in your face, and want to know where you are, when you're gonna come back, when you're gonna go, why you're gonna go. Now we're not talking about that need. We're not talking about that need. We're not talking about that person, because that person got issues. And their attachment style is that they want you all the time because they are fearful that they're gonna lose you any moment. So they want to always be in your face, you in their face, want to know when you're going to come, when you're going to leave. We're not talking about that style of need. We're talking about somebody that wants to have a secure need, somebody that has a secure attachment, that they understand themselves, understand your relationship. So someone said, that's you again, Glenda. Patient, why yours the only one come up?
No.
Yours the only one. I can't see nobody else's.
You can't? Really?
No, I can't.
Okay, because someone put in the chat available love. Because I was the last one, Mr. Carpenter.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
Someone put in the chat available love, honest, loyalty. Someone else put in the chat honesty, reliability, and loyalty.
Okay, and that's great. Okay, so now we've kind of understand what needs are, because I think when I read that, some people might think, well, what in the heck is a need in a relationship? Do I need you to pay my mortgage? Do I need you to help me with a car note? Do I need you to come babysit? So let's do that one. Let's do that. Okay, because we don't need paymasters in here. We need good listeners. We need people to be honest. We need people we need people when they set boundaries, we want them to keep them. And we don't want them to break their own boundaries. Because sometimes when you set boundaries, the person that break the boundary first is you. You break your own boundaries. And when you do that, you never get anywhere. Okay? All right. So this one right here, so we understand needs in relationship, what they are. And sometimes
Can I ask a question?
Please do.
Yes.
What is a paymaster?
Oh, I think you know the paymasters. I think you're just trying to mess with me. I think I know you. But here's a paymaster relationship is someone that's going to pay your bills, pay your rent. It's going to be your financial support. This is a person you only want them for the ability to pay for your needs. They pay your light bill, they pay your car note, they pay your phone. They pay anything that needs to be paid. They're considered a paymaster. They issue the money out to pay that service or bill or whatever you got, whatever your needs are. So that's when we say paymaster. That's what we're talking about. Did that answer your question?
Is there another word for it? Is that another word for it?
I think Gigi messed with me.
Well, listen, I have never heard that word before.
Okay.
But
I didn't hear it. I have never heard of it until reset.
Yeah, paymaster, and that's a term because on the other end is called gold digger. But a gold digger is someone that wants somebody to pay, and a paymaster is someone that pay. A paymaster is someone that the money is their game. That's how they find it. That's how they get their relationship. They use their money as their mouthpiece. They use their money as their web or their catch. That's what they use their money. They're called paymasters. And some people leave their money. Some people, hey, look, I got the money, girl, let's go. Or I got the money, guy, let's do this. And that's what that is. Or someone said term sponsor, right? The sponsor, same way, the same term.
That's the term that I'm used to hearing. They're looking for a sponsor.
Well, I'm in the street. They say paymaster.
Oh, all right, paymaster.
Okay, all right. Okay. Now, where are we at? Any questions about this need? This one again. Read it again, Glenda, and make sure we covered it before we move on to number 4.
Not a problem. I used to downplay my needs, thinking it was easier that way. The more vocal I've been with friends, the more I've realized how much they care. What's one need you've minimized in the past?
I think mine was time. Mine was time. Mine was time because I needed the time. I needed time. I think my biggest was time. My second was emotional ability to be the ability to be emotionally intimate. So those three things for me: time, emotions, and intimacy. Those are my three needs that I've minimized before. Okay, everybody got that one, so we can move on to number four. Okay, Glenda, number four.
All right. So, in a moment of frustration, I spoke my mind and felt lighter. Instead of creating distance, honesty brought us closer. Again, in the moment of frustration, I spoke my mind and felt lighter. Instead of creating distance, honesty brought us closer. Has honesty ever brought unexpected closeness?
I'm gonna say yes. I'll be the first one to say yes. Yes. A resounding yes for me. Anyone else got any questions? Any comments about that one? Because I said resounding yes. Because especially when you're frustrated, and especially when you're frustrated and you're already out of it, and you really don't know what to do or how to do, and don't know which way to turn. And when someone's honest with you, to me it relaxes you. You find it's almost like a common ground, almost like you find a safe haven. They're almost like you like the person throwing you a rope or throwing you a lifeline. That's the way I felt when it happened for me. Anyone else experience this where honesty have it, that honestly some person being honest brought you closer?
What if it doesn't?
If it don't bring you closer, then is it the right person for you, or is it that you guys ain't gonna get close regardless? That's the other thing, because if a person's honest with you and it don't bring you closer, then do you guys have an emotional connection at all? Because that's the question you need to ask yourself. Because in a moment of frustration, because this is a moment of frustration, when you're frustrated, you don't you're hot as fire, of fish grease, as they say, hot as fish grease. And then I spoke my mind and felt lighter because I got it out. I was frustrated. I told you how I felt. I got it off my chest, got it off my head, got the monkey off my back. And then instead of creating distance, it brought us closer. Because a lot of times when you feel enraged, you're gonna tell them, "I'm gonna give a piece of my mind. I can't take it no more. I'm frustrated. I'm gonna give them a piece of my mind." And the normal person would think that's gonna push you. That's gonna push you further. That's gonna create distance, because that fight or flight thing kind of come into play. But instead, that honesty bring you close. The other person says, "Wow, I didn't know you felt that way. I'm glad you shared this with me. Let me tell you how I feel, what's going on." Hey, that's a bridge.
I took the flight. I left.
Yeah, and some people do that because when that happens, you fight or flight. That's a natural reaction. That's safety. That fight or flight, sometimes that's safety. That's a safety valve. That release the pressure.
Right.
You release the pressure. Hey, peace, I'm out of here. This ain't what I signed up for, or this is too much for me at the moment. And sometimes people leave and come back to it. Did you ever circle back, or that was a wrap?
That was a wrap, because anything that reminds me of my ex-husband, I don't need it.
Okay.
No, I did not circle back.
And see what that honesty did. Being honest on both sides, it kept them from taking that bad relationship forward. They didn't take that relationship into the future. They didn't have to deal with this over and over and over and over and over again. They killed it right there. Boom. Each person go and start all over again. Start anew. Great. Sometimes that's a great decision. Sometimes that's the best decision. Okay. Any more questions? Any more comments about that one? I want to try something. Here's a part I want to say. Okay, this one right here, this is something unique. Emotional bottling versus brave expressions. And what am I saying? Emotional bottling versus brave expressions. And this is unspoken feelings fester. Unspoken feelings fester. Honest release pressure. Honesty release pressure. Prevents resentment and open doors of healing. And on the heels of what Gigi said, here's right here. Here's what it says. Emotional bottling versus brave expression. And the unspoken feelings fester. Because right there, Gigi had a moment. If she didn't say anything and stayed there, that stuff would fester. Her honest release of pressure was to get the heck out of the situation. It prevented resentment because if she stayed there, eventually they'd resented each other. Or she resented that person. But her opening the door to say peace out, it became healing. It became healing for you, right, Gigi?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I was okay. I was definitely okay.
And see, in this scenario, we call it, if you'd have stayed there and took it, that's what they call emotional bottling. You'd have bottled like a Pepsi Cola. You'd have bottled your emotions like a Pepsi Cola and put a lid on it. And it'll stay right, it'll fester, fester, fester. But your brave expression was, peace, I'm out, I'm gone. You say, hey, and sometimes you got to actually be real brave to leave people. Because this time of modern relationships, people are crazy. Sometimes people, you gonna be with me or else. So that's brave. So that was an actual brave expression. You said, hey, look, I'm out of here. And then honestly release the pressure. You got away from that. And then build resentment. And you open the door for your healing. So that was a great job on that, Gigi. And that's why I wanted to bring that one up. I wasn't gonna mess with that, but since you brought that up, that's there. Let's talk about fear of disruption. Fear of disruption. How many of us were taught not to rock the boat? How many of us was taught not to rock the boat, but to be silent rather than be honest? Has it ever caused a connection? I'm sorry, have it caused a connection? Many of us were taught not to rock the boat, but silence can cause more than honesty. Because I was told something, how we said, hey, don't rock the boat. Because I remember when I was coming up, a lot of times my mom had to walk on eggshells around my father. Because there were triggers that she could say that would set him off like TNT. So she had to be silent a lot, not to rock the boat, because if she rocked the boat, they were gonna fight. So this right here is something that's very, very important that we change that, because this new generation of people, you don't need to fight. It's no need now. There's so much going on there. You need to fight. They got so much counseling, so much, so many outlets, so many things you can do other than fight now. So, how would you teach your sons or daughters, granddaughters, grandsons about rocking the boat or not rocking the boat? We teach them not to rock the boat, be silent, or speak the mind. What's the message of the day? What would you teach your kids? Any suggestions? What do you teach yourself? I guess. What do you teach yourself?
I would say speak your mind, because I would think that's the only way to clear the air. I mean, stand on your own truth. That's what I would say.
Okay. Okay. So ain't no fear of eruption. You're gonna disrupt that thing. If that's what it takes, you're gonna disrupt it. It's just gonna be you're gonna have tear holes in that situation, huh?
Correct.
That okay. Go ahead. That's awesome.
I have a pet peeve. I don't like to argue with anybody, and I just state how I feel, and whether they like it or love it, is how I feel. As simple as that. You have to communicate on a level with them, and if you can't communicate, then you really have to let them go.
Okay.
Right.
That's that can't change the mind, change the body.
Well, and based off of what you said, GT, how does that work if you have issues with family members?
Let them go.
Some people you have to love from afar.
Let them go.
I have a few of those. I love them from afar.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. They don't get a Christmas card or Christmas invite. I'm just having fun. I'm just having fun. The next thing I bring up is the same part of this right here. Safe versus honest isn't the same. Safe versus honest isn't the same. Sometimes the safe thing to do is to speak up. Once again, safe versus honest isn't the same. Sometimes the safe thing to do is to speak up. It builds intimacy and invite others to do the same. Because when you speak, when you speak up, you give the other person the right to speak up and to build intimacy. So when people say, I'm gonna be safe not to say anything, I'm just gonna be safe.
No,
that's not the same as being honest.
No,
No,
you're
it's
right.
not.
Rufus, sometimes safe is to be quiet. It depends. It depends. If you're talking about safety, you might not need to say a thing. You might need to just take your strategy and your time to say, no, let me get away from this. But if I say something, it's going to be the TNT. It's going to be explosive. So sometimes safe is to not say something. Do something, not say something.
Okay. I think that's a debatable question. I think that's a debate. I think that let's debate on that a little bit. Now, Annette says safe is not to do anything. Sometimes it's not the thing to do. So, and the question saying that safe is not the same as honest. It's not the same. Isn't always the same, because a lot of time people say, I'm just gonna be safe and ain't gonna say anything. And then other people say, because you didn't say nothing, you wasn't honest. Because that's what I do. If I'm gonna lie, I'm just gonna shut up. I ain't gonna say nothing. And I've been called out a couple times. Well, you knew why you didn't say anything. Hell, I didn't want to lie. I mean, so I've been called out a little bit. And I think
So isn't not saying the same as telling a lie?
Audience, help me out. Audience, what is it? Audience, let's get the audience.
Same thing.
Okay, we got one same thing.
Why you say that?
I think that was Sharon. Was that Sharon?
That was Ava.
Oh, you don't. Ava don't speak up. So hey, this got to be a good one.
Yeah, that.
Somebody else.
Yeah, that was me, Rufus.
Huh?
That was me saying you are smart. You know you're gonna tell a lie, just don't say nothing at all.
Yeah, but Ava said that's a lie. Is that right? And you said it was a lie, wasn't it? If you don't say nothing like that, you know that's a lie. Being quiet.
That is correct. That's a sin of omission.
Okay. And this is a good one. And this is, I knew that's why I was trying to save this one for towards the end, because this one is a unique one here. Because a lot of time, and I'm guilty. I'm guilty. Because if I figure I don't want to lie, so I don't say anything. I just say okay, and then I just hope. And then if the subject start going that direction, it's time for me to go. What somebody said, let's say correct.
What'd you say?
Then you're not being honest.
I said I got a problem. God's still working on me. Okay, okay, Johnny got something. What is that? What is that Johnny said? Read the Johnny thing, Glenn. I just saw it come up.
The only thing I can say is I will always speak a blessing on you, because if you are blessed, I am blessed. So it sounds like he's not a confrontational person. So he's not going to say anything bad or wrong. He's going to, he's going to pray a blessing over you.
Okay. All right. So he's saying it's your mess. You get it straight. I think that's what he's saying. God be with you. Peace be with you.
And then I put in the chat that, most of the time I know for myself, if I don't say anything, I'm planning action. I'm about to take action because I can show you better than I can tell you. Because I no longer want to be confrontational, because I know how things can escalate and go left field for me. So since I know how I am, I do pushbacks from, conversations that's going to lead me into another side of Glenda that I don't want too many people to see. And I just start taking action. I'll unfriend you. I will block you in a Mississippi minute, or I'll just ignore you.
Oh, you know what? I just looked at time. It's 10. It's 10:07.
Well, you owed them that because you were late.
But you guys realize something. That seems like the subject got away from me tonight. Now we've got a halfway of this right here. We've got an option. We can reel this on in and call it quits, or we can go ahead and put it for next week too. So, but this is, you guys got to make a decision on this one. So what do you guys want to do? Because we're about halfway into this one. Some kind of way we got turned around a little bit on this one. So audience, what do you guys want to do? In the chat, guys, put in the chat.
Ava said next week too.
Okay, any more? If we get one more next week, we'll go next week. If we don't get now another one, then we're going to close this one out right about here. We'll turn this over, let her bring us home.
We need to be open and honest.
Next week.
Oh, we got another one.
Okay, we'll go next week. All right, Glenda, go ahead and do the closing out, and then we'll bring this again next week. But now next week, now the only thing I ask you next week, make sure you bring your examples too, because this is something that we all know something about. This is not a tricky relationship question or relationship issue. This is something that we do every day. It's communicating, whether we communicate truthful or not. This is something we do every day. So this is something we can talk about as a group, okay? All right, Glenn, you want to bring us home?
I sure will. All right. Tonight reminded us that we don't have to carry the weight of unspoken truth. Every time we speak from a place of honesty and self-awareness, we invite healing, not just for ourselves, but for our relationships. We don't grow in silence, we grow in truth. So this week, let's choose clarity over comfort. Let's make room for the kind of conversations that bring peace, not just quiet. And remember, the air may get a little heavier before it clears, but on the other side is freedom. You deserve that. We all do. Thank you so much for joining us tonight at Sunday Night at 9. We will see you next week, same time.
Yep, and bring your comments, please. Night,